Welcome. I will now show you how to make the gap analysis. That is the changing engine of this project, the early warning, early reaction. In this case, I'm looking at this one. The lessons are meaningful to me, and I will make a gap analysis from that. I'll choose the gap analysis here, and then the system knows I was looking at the student survey. What I have to do is indicate which question, and it was number 12. Here I can see the results over time. In this case, this is demo, and I have only made one measuring point, so the trend diagram is a bit boring, but it will grow. The next step is to try to explain why do we have the results we have. You see the current situation, the system knows we had a number 6 on a scale 1 to 10. And I can state that lessons are not meaningful enough, for instance. And the desired position is more meaningful lessons. This is not rocket science, it is just to frame the discussion. So when we have an improvement discussion, it's very easy to find new angles, and the discussion widens. This is to narrow it down, this is focus, this is what we're talking about. Next, I ask the students to think for themselves, what are the problems? Why don't we have more meaningful lessons? And they think for themselves in silence for a while, and then I ask them to talk to each other in pairs. And finally, I ask each pair, what do you think might be the problem? And they might say, I don't see the purpose. And when I hit enter here, it adds to the list, and the blue gap widens. Another group might say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And the third group might just say, I don't understand, like so. Okay, so here we have the students' own ideas. Why aren't the lessons meaningful? The next question is, we after all have 6 in a scale 1 to 10, so it could be a lot worse. The question then is, what is it that makes the lesson meaningful in this case? And I ask the students to think for themselves in silence, and then talk in pairs, and then I ask the different pairs what they think. And that might be the teacher explains the goals. That might be one. I get help with my problems. Might be another one. And there's a clear lection plan. Might be a third. And this is the actual analysis. So here we have the group's understanding of the problem. The lessons are not meaningful enough, and we want them to be more meaningful. And the problems we identify are these, and the strength, the reason why it is, after all, as good as it is, are these. In the next step, we try to identify possible actions. And given that we have these problems and these strengths, I ask the students to think for themselves, what possible actions could we do? And then they talk in pairs, and then we ask the different pairs. And there might be a whiteboard structure. There might be a green, yellow, and red plastic cup in front of the students, so they can indicate whether they are following or not. There might be an example from real life. each lesson. For instance, these are 3 suggestions that might come up. Coming this far, the next step is to sort this, figuring out which of these possible actions can we manage ourselves. So you can either see that it's the group, the people in the room when the analysis is done, or the management, which is somebody inside the school but outside the room, or maybe even somebody outside the school. For instance, if you want to change the bus lines or things like that. When we look at these, the green, yellow, and red plastic cup, probably the group can decide for themselves, and also giving the examples and using the whiteboard structure. So the next step might be to prioritize between these, and usually we use voting, and you ask for everybody to vote, and you add the votes with a green thumb up. You remove votes if that would be necessary with a red one. And when you have done the voting, usually you go with the one with the most votes. So you select that. Come this far, you need to save the gap analysis to finalize it. So this is just a demo, and I will name it so. And the last step in this row is the actions, where I have this whiteboard structure, but that was just a name on a paper. I have to describe what that means, and that might be introducing a structure for lesson start and goals in each classroom. Maybe that's just an example. And then you see the to describe the action is here green and checked, and add start date that comes the day of today. The date of today comes from start. You can also add a finishing date. When will this action be implemented? And lastly, you must name a person who is responsible for the action. And here we only have me, the administrator at Värdeskaparna. So I choose myself. And with this, I can save the action. So now the gap analysis is closed and it's ready. So this action will show on my starting page. And if I want to follow it up and evaluate it, I click on that link, and I have my action here. Here is the value with which we started. Next time we do the survey, we will either get a better result or the same result or maybe even a worse result. So after having done the next survey, we can evaluate the impact from this action. One question we must ask ourselves is, did we do it? Maybe we planned this action, but things happened and we never went away doing it. So you can either say we did it all the way just as planned, or maybe we did half of it. And finally, the impact. Did it get worse or did it get better? And hopefully we will find that it got better. So this is the way to keep all the improvement work together. You do the survey, we do the gap analysis, we come to the actions, and after the next survey we will also evaluate the impact of the action. So that is the improvement engine of this project. Thank you.